Hi everyone, this is Athar Mansoor from Tracks. Welcome back to the book review series. In today's video, I'm going to discuss a very interesting and exciting book, and more than 20 million copies of this book have been sold. Now, it talks about making small changes to your habits in order to transform your lives. Can you guess the name? Because I've talked about habits. Yes, some of you have guessed it correctly. I'm talking about Atomic Habits by James Clear. Let me review this book for you by sharing my screen. So I hope you can see my screen now. All right. So as I've mentioned, over 20 million copies of this book have been sold. James Clear tells us that tiny changes can lead towards remarkable results. And he claims that through this book, you can get access to an easy and proven way to build good habits and break bad ones. This book was published in 2018, just about 7 years ago, and this is a remarkable achievement, selling more than 20 million copies. It presents a system rooted in behavioral science, showing how incremental adjustments, which James Clear calls atomic habits, can compound over time to transform our lives. It's a good guide on how tiny changes can lead to remarkable results, not big or massive changes or revolutionary changes, but maybe very small incremental changes towards can lead you towards remarkable results. And finally, James Clear in this book provides a strategy-based approach for building sustainable habits. James Clear's habit framework in this book, The Atomic Habits, is it revolves around four laws of behavior change. The first law is making it obvious, which is based on the principle of cue. For example, you want to change your unhealthy lifestyle and you want to develop a habit of staying healthy, or you want to take some steps towards becoming healthier. You can put your gym clothes when you see them. So this is the principle of cue, and this principle is based on the law that you have to make it obvious. The second law is making it attractive, which is based on the principle of craving, which means that you need to pair a habit with something you enjoy. This is also called temptation bundling. So pair that habit with something you enjoy so that you get that craving of going into developing that habit. The third law is making it easy, which is based on the principle of response, which means that you need to start small, or maybe in fact, not start small, but you need to start with, for example, 2-minute rule. I would explain it by giving you the example of consider someone who is an over talkative person, and that person wants to change that habit of indulging into too much talking. So that person can make it for himself or herself by staying quiet for 2 minutes. And if you start working towards that, you can eventually control your over talkative nature. And lastly, it is make it satisfying law, which is based on the principle of reward, which means that you need to celebrate small wins to reinforce your behavior, not just big wins, but small wins. I have divided the key lessons of this book into two parts. In the first part, I'm going to discuss three lessons. First is identity-based habits. This means that you need to focus on becoming the type of person who does something rather than the goal itself. So it's kind of operationalizing that thing. Example is that you want to swim in Olympics, for example, Olympic competition. That's your goal. But rather than focusing on the goal, you say to yourself that I am a swimmer. I am a swimmer. And then you slowly, gradually evolve yourself into that thinking where you can say, I'm a professional swimmer, or I am an Olympic swimmer after that, subsequently. So this is kind of the notion of developing identity-based habits. So focusing on becoming the type of person rather than the goal itself. The second lesson is habit stacking. Habit stacking means that you need to link your new habits to existing ones. Remember, I told you that you need to pair a habit with something you enjoy, but this is kind of related, not exactly the same concept, but kind of related, which means that you need to, whatever you are doing, you need to link the new habit to it so that you develop or the new habit becomes part of your second nature. An example which I have written on the slide is that after you eat your dinner, you can tell yourself that I'll walk for 10 minutes. So you take dinner every day. And after taking dinner, you walk because you eventually want to become healthier. The third lesson in part one is environment design, which means that you need to shape your environment to support the habits you want to build and remove cues for bad habits. So you want to shape an environment where you want to, you are a smoker and you want to quit smoking. You need to shape an environment where there should be no cigarettes around you. So that will and the bad cues, which means cigarettes lying here and there or somewhere or being in your access, they should not be there. The bad cues should not be there, and this will eventually help you develop those habits which can transform your lives. As far as part two of key lessons is concerned, James Clear talks about the plateau of latent potential, which means that results follow or lag behind effort. So first you need to make effort and then the results come. So you need to be patient and persistent in your those when you develop those atomic habits. So be patient, follow perseverance, and perseverance will eventually lead you towards success. And the last lesson in part two is tracking and accountability, which means that you need to keep track of your progress and you need to use social support, which will increase the chances of habit stickiness, which means the habit can become sustainable. There are many strengths in this book. The best, one of the foremost strengths is the actionable advice, which James Clear gives us. There are practical strategies that can be implemented immediately by anyone. Also, the writing style by James Clear is very clear. It's simple, engaging, and highly structured. Scientific backing is another strength of this book because the literature of this book is grounded in cognitive and behavioral psychology. And finally, James Clear has used visuals, and these visuals like habit loop and the four laws help reinforce concepts because visuals through your eyes, and if they are catchy, they definitely have more impact on your mind. This book is not free from criticisms. It seems to be repetitive. Some readers feel that concepts are reiterated too often or are being repeated again and again. To be very honest, James Clear has definitely uh, given us some interesting and exciting material to read, but at the same time, if you really look and delve deeper into it, it's not something radically new. Many ideas which James shares with us are refinements of existing psychological research. And finally, I think there is over reliance on anecdotes, heavy use of personal and historical stories, which many people can question about the resilience or the, I think, authenticity or validity of those examples or anecdotes. Finally, this book is recommended for anyone who is struggling to build or break habits. It's also recommended for professionals who seek to enhance their performance. It's also recommended for students aiming to improve productivity. And finally, coaches, managers, and leaders who are mentoring others. This is an excellent book, and I would recommend it to all of you. You can get a better idea of how to develop those atomic habits by reading this book, and definitely it can help you transform your lives. In conclusion, I would say that this is a must read for anyone serious about personal development. The strength of the book lies in simplifying complex behavioral science into a compelling framework, both from practical and transformative perspectives. It's not just about doing more, it's about becoming more by focusing on who you are becoming through your habits. Thank you very much for listening to this book review. Please subscribe to Tracks at tracks.pakistan is our YouTube handle, where you can find many interesting videos on many topics ranging from book reviews to international relations to concepts in management. We have also tried to explain Harvard Business Review articles and many other interesting current affairs and communication videos where you can learn how to improve your communication skills. So thank you so much. Stay tuned for more. Join Tracks.